I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with Sarah for about 4 years. Things weren't perfect, but I thought we were solid. We had our issues, who does? But I trusted her. I really did. We were planning a wedding, and honestly, I was excited. We had the perfect venue booked, her parents' lake house, right next to her best friend's family cabin. It was supposed to be our big moment, a week of celebration, family, friends, good times. I didn't see any red flags. Sarah was a little bitchy sometimes, but that was just her being her. She'd lie about little things all the time, but I brushed it off. She always had some excuse. She'd swear I was overreacting, say I was paranoid. I wanted to believe she was honest, that she loved me, but I guess I was blind. The signs started showing up maybe a week before the wedding. She'd get weirdly defensive whenever I asked about her phone or her plans. She'd suddenly be busy, talking to her mom, but I'd catch her sneaking her phone into the bathroom or hiding it in her purse. She'd brush it off, say I was being paranoid, that she was stressed with the wedding planning, but I knew something was off. She'd get irritated when I'd try to look at her phone, and her stories about where she'd been or who she'd been talking to didn't add up. Still, I tried to ignore it. Maybe I was just overthinking it. Maybe she was just stressed, or maybe she was hiding something, but I didn't want to believe it. Not yet. Then came the night before the wedding. I was packing at the hotel, getting everything ready for the big day. I decided to check her phone one last time just to be sure, and that's when I saw it. A message thread that made my stomach turn. It was from her best friend's brother, Jake. The messages weren't innocent. They were flirty, suggestive, and downright explicit at times. I saw the way she was talking about how hot Jake looked, how they couldn't wait to be alone, and I saw her promise to meet up with him at the damn family cabin during our wedding week while I was just a few hours away. I couldn't believe it. My wife, my future wife, was cheating on me with her best friend's brother. How the hell did I miss all the signs? How did she manage to hide this for so long? I felt numb, then furious, then hurt. All those months, all those years, and she's been lying right to my face. I wanted to confront her right then, but I knew I had to be smart. I couldn't let her see I'd found out. Not yet. I stayed up all night trying to process what I just found. I kept thinking about the wedding, how she'd pretended everything was perfect. Her fake smile, her bitchy attitude, her quick temper. She acted like she was so in love with me, so excited for our future. But all along she was planning something else. Something I never saw coming. I felt betrayed, so deeply betrayed, but I also felt like I needed a plan. I couldn't just walk away. Not without knowing how deep this went, how long she'd been lying, who else she might have hurt. I knew I had to catch her in the act if I wanted any real proof, so I decided I'd set a trap. I'd find out exactly what was happening before I made any move. But deep down, I already knew my marriage was over. I just didn't want to admit it yet. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My head was pounding, and I couldn't shake the sick feeling in my stomach. I knew I had to act fast. I couldn't let her get away with it, not after what I saw. I started by going through her messages again, looking for any other clues, any signs of when this might have started or how long she'd been messing around behind my back. But I also needed to be careful. I didn't want her to sense I was onto her. She was good at lying, I'll give her that. She'd lie about anything, small things, big things, like how she'd never cheat or how she loved me. It all sounded so convincing when she was trying to cover her tracks. I decided to call her mom just to get a read on her. Sarah's mom was a classic enabler. She always backed her daughter no matter what. I asked her how Sarah was doing, if she'd seen her lately. Her mom was quick to brush it off, but I pressed a little more. She seems a little distant, I said casually, like she's got a lot on her mind. Her mom just sighed and said, yes, she's been a bit stressed lately. Wedding stuff, you know how it is. That was code for your wife is probably cheating on you, but I won't say it directly. I played it cool, but inside I was seething. I needed more proof, something concrete I could hold on to. Later that day, I decided I'd follow her. Not stalk her, just keep an eye on where she was going. I know it's creepy, but I needed to see who she was meeting and what she was doing. I waited until she said she was going out with her friends. Then I followed her discreetly from a distance. She drove to the mall, then to a coffee shop, then nothing unusual so far. But then she went to a different part of town, an area I didn't recognize, and I watched her walk into a small, rundown cabin. My stomach clenched again. That had to be the family cabin, the one her best friend's brother, Jake, owned. I knew it, I just knew it. I parked a few blocks away, heart pounding in my chest. I didn't want to confront her then, not yet. I needed to see what she was doing inside, get some kind of evidence. I stayed hidden behind some trees, watching. I saw her go in, and a few minutes later I saw Jake walk out. They exchanged a quick kiss, then she turned and went back inside. I could see the glow of a lamp through the window. It was clear she was sneaking around, hiding something. I needed to get inside, but I wasn't planning to do it right then. I just wanted to confirm my suspicions, confirm what I already knew deep down. My wife, Sarah, was cheating on me with her best friend's brother. That was the reality, and it hit me harder than I expected. How could she do this? How long had she been lying? And most of all, how was I going to fix this? Or was there even a way? That night I couldn't sleep. My mind kept circling back to that cabin, to her sneaking out like some kind of secret lover. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I didn't see that Sarah was capable of this. I'd always thought she was a bit of a bitch. She had that sharp tongue, that nasty attitude, always throwing fits over the smallest things. But I never thought she'd cheat on me during our wedding week, right under my nose. It's like she had this whole double life, and I was just an idiot who believed her lies. I started planning my move. I knew I had to confront her, but I wanted proof first. I didn't want to just accuse her and have her deny everything like she always did. No, I wanted her to admit it. So I set up a secret camera in the hotel room, hoping to catch her in the act or at least hear her talk about it. I'd also hidden my phone, ready to record if she tried to lie her way out. I felt sick doing it, but I had no choice. I needed to see the truth for myself. The next morning I acted casual. I made sure to look relaxed, like I was just going about my day, and I approached her about going for a walk. She was bitchy, as usual, snapping at me about how I was ruining her vibe and how I was paranoid. I played it cool, pretending I didn't suspect anything. We went out to the nearby park, and I kept my phone tucked in my pocket, ready to record if needed. I couldn't believe I was about to do this, spy on my own wife. But at this point, I knew I had to be sure. I had to see her in the act, or I'd never be able to face her again. We walked in silence for a while, and then she suddenly started talking about Jake, how hot he was, how she'd love to see what it's like to be with him. My stomach clenched again, but I kept my cool. I told her I was tired of her lies, that I knew she was cheating on me. Her face twisted into this nasty smirk, and she told me I was imagining things, that I was paranoid, that I was trying to ruin her. She said she loved me and that I was overreacting, typical Sarah. But I had the evidence. The messages, the nights she spent sneaking off, her talking about Jake like he was some prize. I knew I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I had to confront her with everything. That night I sat her down in the hotel room. I took out my phone and played the recordings, her own voice admitting to meeting Jake, saying she was going to have sex with him, that she wanted to see what it was like. Her face turned red, then pale, and her eyes started to dart around. She tried to lie, saying it was all a misunderstanding, that I was crazy, that she'd never cheat, that I was just jealous. But I wasn't buying any of it. I looked at her and saw the bitchy, manipulative woman I'd married. The woman who'd lie and cheat and pretend to be innocent while she was screwing her best friend's brother behind my back. I felt my blood boil, and for the first time I realized I was done. Done with the lies, done with her bullshit. This wasn't the woman I thought I knew. This was someone else entirely, someone I couldn't trust anymore. At first she tried to deny everything, spinning some wild story about how she was just talking to Jake and that it was innocent. She looked me straight in the eyes and lied through her teeth, calling me paranoid and insecure. She said she loved me, that I was overreacting, that I was just jealous because I wasn't enough for her. That kind of stuff makes your stomach turn, you know. The way she looked at me, all fake and bitchy, like I was just some obstacle to her happiness. I wanted to punch her right then and there, wanted to shake her and yell that I knew the truth. But I stayed calm, at least on the outside. Inside, I was a storm of anger, betrayal, and heartbreak. I kept asking her why. Why she did it, why she thought she could get away with it during our wedding week. Her answer, that I was boring, that she needed excitement, that I didn't satisfy her. She threw in some shit about how she'd always been attracted to Jake and that he was more fun. That hurt worse than anything else because I knew it was her way of justifying her betrayal. She called me pathetic, tried to make me feel guilty for catching her, but I wasn't buying any of her bullshit. I saw her for what she was, an angry, manipulative bitch who thought she could do whatever she wanted and get away with it. I felt the anger rising in my chest. I wanted to scream at her, to tear her apart with words, but I kept my cool. I wanted her to see that I wasn't the fool she thought I was. I told her I was done, that I was ending this marriage. I told her I deserved better than a cheating wife who lied and cheated behind my back. She looked surprised at first, then angry, then downright furious. She started crying, but not because she was sorry. No, she was just putting on a show, trying to manipulate me into feeling guilty. I saw through it. I knew she'd been lying from the start, that she was just upset she got caught. And that's when I realized I needed to get out. I couldn't stay with a woman like her. I felt broken, but I knew I had to walk away before she took even more of me with her lies and betrayal. The fallout was intense. I told her to pack her bags and leave right then, right there. I didn't want her in my space anymore, not after what I found out. She threw a fit, screaming that I was overreacting, that I was crazy for kicking her out during our wedding week of all times. She called me controlling, jealous, insecure, basically everything she'd been calling me for months. But I didn't care. I was done listening to her bullshit. I looked her dead in the eyes and told her she was a cheating bitch, that I never wanted to see her face again, that I was sick of her lies, her manipulations, her sneaky little games. She stormed out, crying and yelling, but honestly I felt nothing, just emptiness mixed with fury. I grabbed my phone and called my best friend, Mark. I needed someone to talk to, someone who'd tell me what to do next. I told him everything, the messages, the night at the cabin, her lies, her accusations. Mark was pissed off too. He told me I did the right thing, that I shouldn't be with a woman who'd cheat on me during my wedding week, that I deserved better, even if it hurt like hell to admit it. I felt a weight lifted, but also like I'd lost everything that mattered. My trust, my love, my future, all gone in a matter of hours. After she left, I sat alone in the hotel room trying to process what had happened. I kept replaying the moments, the lies, her bitchy attitude, her sneering face when she tried to deny it all. I realized I'd been blind for so long, convincing myself she was just stressed or acting out, things I could forgive. But deep down, I knew she was a cheat, a liar, a manipulative bitch who thought she could do whatever she wanted. That realization crushed me. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. I didn't know if I'd ever be able to trust anyone again. And yet I knew I couldn't stay with her, not after everything. I'd lost my wife, my trust, my sense of stability. The marriage was over, and all I could do now was figure out how to pick up the pieces and move on. I knew I'd never forget this betrayal, but I also knew I had to try for myself, for the future I still hoped to have, even if it looked different now. In the days that followed, everything felt surreal. I moved out of the hotel, packed up my things, and tried to piece my life back together. The first few nights were the hardest, sleeping alone, waking up with that hollow ache in my chest, feeling like I'd lost a part of myself. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I convinced myself she loved me when she was out there sneaking around with Jake. I kept replaying every argument, every suspicious glance, every lie she told to cover her tracks. It was like I'd been walking around with a blindfold on, and now that it was ripped off, I couldn't believe I ever trusted her. Reflecting on everything, I realized how much betrayal can mess with your head. I felt angry, hurt, and completely humiliated. But I also felt a strange sense of relief, like I'd finally seen the truth and could start healing. I learned the hard way that some people are just good at hiding who they really are. Sarah was one of those people. She pretended to be perfect, sweet, loving, until it was convenient for her to lie, cheat, and manipulate. I see now that I was just a pawn in her game, and I was naive for thinking I was enough for her. Now I'm focusing on myself. I've cut ties with her entirely and blocked her on everything. I don't want to hear her excuses or see her fake tears. I know I'll never forget what she did, but I also know I can't change the past. I can only learn from it. And I've learned that if someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Don't ignore the signs, don't make excuses. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to repair. If there's one thing I want anyone else reading this to take away, it's this. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't dismiss your gut feeling, no matter how much you love someone or how much you want things to work out. Because in the end, betrayal like this doesn't just break your trust, it shatters everything you thought was real. And no matter how much it hurts, you have to walk away when you see someone isn't worth your love or your loyalty. I still feel pain, sure, but I also feel hope. Hope that someday I'll find someone who's honest, who respects me, who won't lie and cheat just to satisfy some selfish need. I'm done with her and I'm finally ready to start over.